tonight at 6 right here on Yuba-Sutter.live. What to do with the Hotel Marysville site. You'll hear details about the EPA grant that can provide up to $4 million for cleanup to make the lot ready for development. You'll hear from people like you.
I like the idea of it being a multi-complex thing, but one thing I do see that's really needed in Marysville downtown is parking.
Tonight, your comments, your public output is a big piece of that.
The city is taking notes. What to do with the Hotel Marysville site. Replay tonight at 6. Presented as a public service by Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties. That's tonight at 6 right here on your local information channel, Yuba-Sutter.live.
Yuba-Sutter.live. It's the truth that comes through.
Hi, I'm Neil Goforth of Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties. Caring for elders or even yourself has challenges. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties can help you address today's issues and plan for tomorrow with in-home and specialized care for you or your family members. Call us at 530-749-8800. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties.
I will just briefly, I'll turn it over to our city manager for our intro, and then once he completes that, then we'll take back over and get things rolling.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. Jim Shad, city manager. Wanted to thank everybody for being here. The topic for tonight's town hall is the Hotel Marysville, and most everybody's likely familiar with that site and the fire that ensued and the demolition that occurred after that. Tonight's meeting, we're focused on sharing information, explaining next steps, potential next steps, and most importantly, hearing from any community members that wish to speak. This is all part of a process that's transparent and is designed to get public input on really two things. One, any concerns with the application to the EPA for a grant to remove or to remediate the site, to remove the contaminants from the site, and two, what might be a possible future plans for the site for development. I don't have any other comment to say before I turn it over to Jeremy, but I think we wanted to see if there was council comments.
Yeah, there was just before I started presenting, if there was, I didn't know if council wanted to provide any other comments or background or anything before we move forward.
First, I apologize for being a bit late. I had a little problem I had to solve. Everybody who's here, I respect you for being here and appreciate it. This is important. It's an important topic. Glad to have you.
All right, well, thank you. With that, I'll briefly go over the agenda. We'll start with the background, the updates on the EPA grant, and updates since our last meeting and progress. And then we'll move on to the public input and question time. We also have our community development director will go over the next steps in regards to reuse and marketing. And then we will close everything up with info how to provide additional input. We still have some extra time before we submit, so the process isn't over here tonight. If there's folks that can't participate tonight or get their comments in tonight, we'd love to see those in the next week or so as well, so we can include it with our application and to hear those questions, comments, and get that into our application packet. So next slide. So with that, there is this scan code here, if anybody needs that there. For that, that goes right to a portal to input any of those questions as well. But following the 2024 fire, the structure was demoed, as everybody's seen, and is where we have the cap pile of debris. Approximately 4,700 cubic yards of fire damage debris remains on site with that granite cap. We've done our environmental studies, confirmed the presence of asbestos containing materials. There's presumed lead-based paint, and we've also taken proactive steps and done our phase 2. That is an update from our last meeting. We did complete our phase 2 environmental assessment that showed some petroleum impacts beneath the former basement, which we believe is attributed to heating oil tank in a boiler that was in that location. So with that now, with those studies complete, we've taken the environmental studies really as far as we can go until the rest of the debris is removed. The site is leveled, and we can continue those efforts and complete that remediation. This application is a key part of that. This would provide the funding to, as I said, offhaul that debris, get it to the appropriate licensed facilities. Quite a bit is very, well, we talked about some of the asbestos and lead. Those are primarily in trace levels, but there is areas that will need require more remediation and go to a higher level facility for disposal of those. So again, just going back tonight and the grant process, the team's basically been working. This grant was applied for previously. The team has been working to revise that proactively. I see some familiar faces from the last meeting, and so it's been ongoing. The federal shutdown pushed us out by a few months with that shutdown, or at least 2 or 3. But in that time, we just really continued to put together the most competitive application that we can. So it's taken quite a bit of teamwork, and really, like I said, with that additional phase 2, we had folks in the field. There's just a lot of moving parts, and it's been a great effort and great teamwork to get this ready and prepared. Today, we wrapped up our final revisions to the application. That will be going to our EPA has some consultants that agencies or applicants can use for professional review. A firm was assigned to us, so after tonight, we'll add in comments for tonight. Add that to the application package, and that will be going out to them for review and comments by the end of the day tomorrow as well. So we're well on our way to get that submitted and meet all the deadlines, check all the boxes and requirements for the grant. And but again, this is tonight. Your comments, your public output is a big piece of that. So. In regards to the cleanup and the application process, that's really the next steps I have. At this point, I will turn it over to Dan Flores, our Community Development and Economic Development Director, and talk about the marketing and reuse process from there. So.
Great. Thank you, Jeremy, and welcome everybody here tonight, too. Glad to have you here. Can we go to the slide 4? So these are the items that Jeremy just spoke about here. And so then we're going to go to the actual, well, let's go ahead and back up. I want to spend a little more time back on that slide and just talk about it, because this is where a lot of people have a lot of questions that come up, like how decisions actually get made and who's selected to do what project. So basically, after the steps that Jeremy talked about, once the cleanup is complete, then we're ready to move forward with what we call an RFP process. And through that process, developers submit proposals of interest to do something on the site. So that developers do that, and then we, as a staff, we will look over their qualifications, like their financial capacity, what their development experience is, what kind of project concepts they have, and whether or not they're able to deliver a project of that scale. But I want to reiterate, the staff doesn't make the decision on what the project will actually be selected. So once the staff makes a recommendation, then that will go to City Council, and then the City Council makes a final recommendation based on the evaluations that occur of the RFPs. So it's really, I just wanted to spend a little more time on this because it is intentional. Like, it's very transparent and intentional through the whole process and how the selection is done. So that would be like item number 4 there. We talked about the proposal review and evaluating developer qualifications, project ideas, and then we'd select the preferred development partner. So go on to the next slide. So the next item is the development agreement. So once we receive RFPs, and then once the City Council decides on a project that's been recommended, we've gone through all of that vetting process, we set up what's called a development agreement. And this is where all the details really get locked in. This is where we have a project scope, we have design standards, we have timelines, we have infrastructure responsibilities, and we have whatever public benefit might be associated with the project will be clearly spelled out in the development agreement. And then the development agreement will give certainty to the city, and it also gives accountability. So, I talked about whether or not the developer has the means to be able to build a project like that. So the city will have, within the development agreement, proof that the developer has the financing necessary to do it, the experience necessary to do it, and all the capabilities that they're able to do it. So then, once that development agreement is completed, that also goes to the City Council for discussion to make sure that if there's any questions or concerns, or if there's any details that need to be changed or added in the development agreement, that's what happens. And so then if you look at number 6, this is new project construction, and this is where redevelopment of the former Marysville hotel site begins. So this is where one of the points that we like is this is where this becomes visible, right? So we look forward to seeing something. You can see some renderings up there, some ideas that were presented at one point for the corner. But once this whole cleanup is completed and the agreements are done, then the actual redevelopment happens. And then from an economic development standpoint, this is where we create, where jobs like construction jobs are created, and just forward movement actually occurs. And then this is our goal in this project is not only to transform the site, but it's also to strengthen the surrounding businesses and continue the momentum for Marysville. Okay, and then if you look at number 7, this is the ribbon cutting. And I always like to talk about the ribbon cutting because this is the moment when we all think, okay, this is the moment we want to look towards, right? So we look to the ribbon cutting, and this is the milestone that we want to reach. And it just represents that successful transition for us all. It's when we've actually achieved this project, when we've done everything at that point. If you go to the next slide. Okay, these are some ideas that were presented from some experienced developers. They haven't vetted or fully presented these ideas, but they were just brought them up in the past so far. The idea of potentially doing a boutique hotel or using some kind of mixed-use retail housing on the site, potentially turning the site itself just into a parking lot or a parking structure of some type that would serve the city, a public plaza or green space to be utilized by the community, or just a community event space. Also, an art and cultural center was brought up, and the idea of putting restaurants or cafes on the site. So a mixed-use project, potentially with some housing on the top and restaurants or cafes on the bottom portion. So again, these are just ideas that were presented. and several other ideas came up at the last meeting that we had here at Town Hall. Okay, next slide. So this was this was provided by Councilman Gilchrist, and it represents Gary Friedman's. It's an old meatpacking building in New York City, and they took the meatpacking building and turned it into this. It's a beautiful building with the mixed use of parking below, and then rooftop amenities on the top. There's office space and then retail on the bottom floor. So just a beautiful, just conceptually a really nice building that would look nice as an entry to the city. So thank you, Councilman Gilchrist, for submitting that. And then the next slide. And this is another sort of rendering or concept that was presented where we would have a mobility hub, and we kind of not only redevelop the hotel space, but also the surrounding buildings, and put some mixed use housing, some commercial development, and you can see the use of the rooftop space for green space, potentially small tennis courts or something along those lines that could go on top as well. So again, these are just fun ideas, things that we can look at to the potential future, but we look to any feedback that we can receive so we can go through those processes that Jeremy presented, and then move on to getting the development agreement, and then ultimately to the ribbon cutting date. So that's all I have for now, Chairman.
Okay. So, yeah, with that, I appreciate that, Dan. With that, we wanted to move into just really what we're all here for, the community input session, and kind of an open question and answer. So with that, we'd like to open it up to the public now. If there's any speakers, I'm not sure, do we receive any speaker cards?
I haven't received any speaker cards.
Did anybody else want to make a public comment for the record? Or?
Mr. Rennick-House, District 2 Supervisor, our supervisor.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. Rennick House, District 2 Supervisor, Yuba County, and board member for Yuba-Water Agency. I just wanted to come tonight just to all of our meetings to try to offer support. So anywhere it would be helpful, continue to reach out. The planning process, we have some resources at our disposal that other agencies don't have. So anything we can do to help, or community engagement that we could assist you with would be great. So I just wanted to note that, you notice a Marysville issue we saw when it closed the highway. It's a regional issue and a community issue, and it affects our whole county in Yuba County. So if you're coming from District 5, you're coming through on Highway 20, you're coming from Yuba City, you're coming through Highway 20, you're going in and out on 70. It all starts and ends in Marysville. So I just want to kind of keep that attention on it, that it can be a bigger project than what one city can do. So pretty all for it. So thank you for your continued efforts and community engagement on the project, and for publicly sharing all the results of the crazy things that we expected to find and found in the debris. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ray.
All right. Is there anybody else?
We've got a member of the public right over here who wants to say something.
I wear many hats. So Dan Flores, thank you very much for your presentation. I would like the public to, if we could go back to this slide and look at the possibilities that developers or professionals suggested. This list is very similar to what the public requested as well in our first public input meeting. They're very, very similar. And so, even though there are 7 possibilities that not only professionals, but the public told us we can do 4 of these on the site. It's called mixed use. And so mixing residential and commercial together, you can achieve a lot of these items on the list. And so the image you saw that I shared could be residential, and residential could be permanent apartments and a hotel, depending on the developer. And so those are things to think about, and we encourage you to give additional suggestions, or at least let us know if you like that idea or not, as opposed to simply a restaurant or simply parking. Because those, even though they're beneficial for a developer, are they really beneficial for your city? So I just want you to think about that. Thank you.
This citizen would like to say something. If I may. We're a long way from making an agreement with the developer. We're not at the beginning, or even the end of the beginning, or the real beginning will be complete once that property is cleared. Hopefully on acceptable economic terms. And that's a challenge. We have a budget in the range of 14+ million, general fund budget, and most estimates for the cost to remediate are in the range of $3 to $4 million, which would be a huge hit to the finances of the city. And that's a challenge that we're doing our best to overcome. We're working 2 tracks. The track subject to this meeting, and then a separate track. Real challenges, and with big dollars at stake. And once we jump through that hoop, we can really get focused on these next steps. That said, I think it's appropriate to think about what will eventually, and I think the sooner we start thinking about it, the better ideas we're going to have, and the better outcome we'll have, and what should occupy that space. That's going to be driven by earnest efforts by the management team, beating the drums to get developers interested, encouraging them with the kind of encouragement that city management can provide in terms of ease of development and cost of development, and finding a developer with the right kind of vision, a vision that suits this community, not just management and the city council, but the community. It's got to be something like that, and they have to have the capital to get it done. And in real time, the environment on that corner has been enhanced. I think that 7-Eleven is one of the prettiest 7-Elevens I've ever seen. The folks across E Street from the old hotel, there's some work going on there. Fingers crossed it turns out as nice as we hope. And I even understand that there's some movement on potentially something happening in the nearer term with the State Theater. Because it'll be anything we can do to make that intersection, that square, if you will, more attractive. Will make it more attractive for a developer, and it'll be more attractive for the for our community. But there's big challenges, and the first one is finding the capital through one of these tracks that we're working to have the funds to clean this thing up. Because if we have to pay that off, if the city has to do that directly, that gets in the way of street repairs and other things. Now we've got a hotel that is about to be built on B Street. We hope that gets done in the very near term. There's certainly been a lot of work there now, the site work. And that'll enhance our revenue somewhat, but again, $3 to $4 million against a $14.5 million general fund budget is a real challenge. We need help, and that's one of the reasons we're here. We have to. It's important that we get the qualify for this grant that we're looking for. We not have to have it is essential that we have input from the public. If we don't show the regulators that'll make a decision on whether or not we get these funds, that we're really after it, we're involving the community as best we can, that's a hard stop. So we're doing everything we can in the near term, but we're at the beginning of the beginning. And whether or not one is required by a regulator, we will be having more of these gatherings as progress is made and as the reality of getting something gets done, something done that's good for the community becomes imminent.
Through the chair. So I agree with every word you said there, Mayor. I appreciate that. I mean, it is always good to hope for the best, and hoping for the best is what could we put there. But it's prudent for us as a council in the city to understand we should plan for the worst. And this is part of the process to be able to find funding to be able to do massive cleanup on that place. Worst case scenario, massive cleanup, $4 million. Should not come out of our city budget. So I appreciate everybody coming tonight, and I appreciate everybody that's going to give constructive response to the QR codes of ideas and so forth, because that is important. That's part of this process. So thank you for everybody that's going to give constructive responses, and thank you for everybody that showed up tonight. And thank you, Mayor, for portraying that, because it is about trying to go through the process to find the funding that will not do any more catastrophic financial disparity to our community. So, thank you.
That's very good information, Pete. I'd also like to thank all of you for the time that you spent on it. And I know it's a competitive grant, and we've tried one round, and we'll hope for the best on the second time. And hopefully the community will give us the input that is needed for the grant, and that we qualify based on all of the criteria. Thank you.
Mr. City Manager, we missed the opportunity the last time around because the timing with respect to getting title. We had to have title to the property to qualify on that calendar, and we only got title a few days after the deadline, so that was why the miss there.
That was the major issue. The other issue was just that we had little time to prepare for the grant application, and it's extensive. This time we were able to spend nearly a year to make sure we were dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's.
The distractions that got in the way of getting that done were brutal negotiations with the prior owners. They were tough. When you get a lot of lawyers on both sides, no offense, their counsel, excellent in terms of skill, but difficult in terms of manner, and it just took a lot of time and distracted from our ability to do everything in real time, and once that got done, get everything across the finish line. It just wasn't going to work. But here we are, we've got our best foot forward. I said it at the outset, I'm so glad to see you all here. Keep your fingers crossed. We're working this thing as hard as we can, and all the support we can get is really appreciated. Sir.
First of all, I'd like to thank the few of you that are here. That's important to us to see that you're interested in being here, so we appreciate that. I'm a bit of an optimist, but I'm also very much a realist. And for me, the reality is we have to get that property evaluated. Nobody's going to be interested in looking at it until we can find out where our top price and bottom price is, so we need an evaluation. I think that's going to be the key, and I'm hoping we can move forward with that, even in the state that we're in. I'd like to see, I'm not going to go to the grant because I think enough's been said about the grant, and we all agree on that. I believe we need to also get an RFP together And that's the request for proposal, to see what a developer is even interested in. So we don't want to be pie in the sky with our ideas and then find that there's not a developer that would even be interested. Now that being said, when we talk to them, I want them to also know that it's going to be a partnership and we're going to have some input with it. I'd love to see something, I believe you said, Mr. Mayor, where it complements the existing businesses. I think that's important. I also believe that it's going to be something revenue generating. I know as much as there's a lot of ideas, and one of mine was the community event space, unless we have someone private bring that in that can produce something that will help the city, I'm not sure that even that's realistic. But I love the rendering that was put up by our council member here, Gilchrist. I would love to see the bottom as businesses and then market rate housing above it. Dan's ideas of getting a restaurant up there on top would be amazing, or a bar. And those are kind of the direction that I'm leaning on everything. It does all matter when we get it cleaned up, but I think there's a few steps that we can start doing to move forward.
So, I was gonna kind of close things out here, but before I do, my first point was supposed to be thank you for participating in your thoughts. But I see people in the audience, and I don't want you to be shy. If you have thoughts, please come up to the mic and tell us what they are, or we can bring the mic to you. But we really want to hear from you if you've got thoughts. And that's important because in the very near future here, Dan is going to be talking to developers, and this is one of the topics for those developers. And it's somewhat the first step before the RFP is done, so we get some initial input. But thank you for coming.
Take it away.
Hi, my name is John Doherty. I've been living around this area since the 90s. What I like the idea of it being a multi-complex thing, but one thing I do see that's really needed in Marysville downtown is parking. I like the idea of parking on the bottom and other things above it, or you can put the parking wherever you want to put it. But we really need parking down there for different things, any kind of events that go on down there, when they shut the streets off and stuff, and you want to go to those events. You know, it's kind of different. You guys know the whole story, right? So, just my opinion, I like the thing of it being a multi, level thing where you can have restaurants or offices or anything else, but you're probably going to have to kind of build it because things change as you do. You know, you may build it for one thing and it may not work for that. And so you have to have set up so you can say, okay, well, you know, we can take this wall, these walls out and make this into, you know, an art, you know, whatever museum or whatever, so things can be adjusted easily. That kind of thing. But anyway, that's my opinion. I like the idea of it being multifunctional. But my big thing is parking. You know, so if you can do parking and the other things as well.
Stick around. We talk about parking a lot.
I'm sure.
and it's interesting, you know, the footprint of the hotel was just a shade over 20,000 square feet. That's less than half an acre.
Yeah, I know, it's really not.
And there is some parking behind it owned by a third party, and then parking, south of it owned by a third party, and then the parking south of that is attached to the art building. It used to be the Brown building or something way back in the day. No, that's real challenging. When Chris Gill, a developer, he's the fellow who owns the training zone. And the training zone used to be right on the corner,
right, sure, yeah.
on D. And he's redeveloping one of the two buildings associated with that former site. And the one on the corner that used to house Bradley's department store, the last I heard, he has some plans for a microbrew or something like that, and which would be a combination restaurant, what have you. So again, I'm glad you brought that up, because getting that whole area back to where it used to be. You've been here since the 90s, I've been here since the 50s.
Yeah.
I mean, I was gone for a long time with my
Yeah,
career.
there's like, I don't even people talk about that.
Yeah,
I remember what.
I was gone for a lot of my career, but I was always here with the family, and that used to be a real hot area. We look at Nevada City, places like that, and we're trying to put something together that has that same kind of vibe.
Right.
And it's in line with what you're saying.
Where you can have little shops and stuff that people come in and walk and hang out and stuff. That'd be a nice thing downtown.
That's our dream.
If you can pull it off. Yuba City tried to pull it off. You know, it's okay. You know, downtown Plumas, it's okay. So, you know, I would look at all the things that aren't working there and do something else. You know, I mean, because it's nice, okay, but it's not a major draw like I think they intended it to be. Because, you know, all the stores closed down at 5, you know, and downtown here, they're pretty much the same thing, everybody closes. And people like to go out at night and kind of hang out, especially summertime, and walk down the streets and, you know, look into shops and that kind of thing, you know. So, but anyway. Okay, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir, very much.
Anyone else? We'd really like to hear from you.
Come on, Valerie.
We will likely have this on the agenda for the next council meeting to give everybody another shot. So please attend if you would like. I believe that's the 20th.
Yeah. And this is the beginning of the beginning. We're on the front end of this. There'll be many more conversations about it and looking for ideas and progress.
To the chair. Please comment on the QR code, you know, scan that and comment if you're not willing to, you know, even your comments would be great on there. And please share that with your neighbors, your friends, so we get some great input. Thank you.
Viral marketing.
Yes.
Through the chair. Mayor, can I echo and add to that? I did just want to encourage everyone. I know the QR code's here. If anybody wants a copy of that, I can provide that. But also, if there's anybody out there that you're talking to that wants to comment, please feel free to reach out. We have it on our city website, right on the first page. I think about a quarter of the way down, halfway down the page, there's a link that takes you to the draft application, the draft study that had to be done to go with this application, and there's links to comment and also you can do that through the web. If there's folks that need additional help in person, you know, we're here every day open to provide that as well. So anything, please feel free to reach out.
Sure.
Mayor, we have Gruntworks GWC that asks that questions be allowed through the live stream. And if someone has their phone monitoring Yuba-Sutter.live chat, they can do that if you would like to do that.
Well, can you relay the questions?
Sure.
Thank you, that'd be easier.
In the chat here, do we have any questions? Gruntworks, did you have a particular question? We have 11 people watching on YouTube, or excuse me, on Facebook, and 1 or 2 on YouTube. Gruntworks said, awesome, glad I found this group. Things have been improving in the 10 years I've been in Plumas, and I enjoy the cities to the north of me. We have John Melendres, Linda Parmenter-Alexander, Paulette Sweeten, Marilyn Kupser, Cindy Stassi is watching. Lero Mecci, and several other people throughout the course of this particular event.
Thank you for sharing. And
You're quite welcome.
And if they can hear me, thank you for paying attention to this. We
We try.
keep our minds on this we can find.
So the committee, or excuse me, the city is oh, I think I'm on. Okay. We're committed to doing something with this site responsibly. There's a lot of cleanup that has to occur. We want to make sure we do that cleanup while protecting the public's health, first of all. But secondly, once the site is clean, and I'll be optimistic tonight that we're going to get one of these grant opportunities. The next step is really to find a developer that will deliver something that the community wants and needs. And so that's what the intention of these forums are. Is we really need the input. It's a requirement for the grant, but we really need the input because we want to deliver what the community wants. So that's all I think we have for tonight. I did want to once again thank everybody here. Your involvement and participation is very important. Oh, you got a question?
We have a comment from Brentworks GWC. He says, I like the idea of parking, and if these buildings could house small businesses such as salons or barbers, I'm very happy to see the growth in Marysville, and he'd be happy to come to downtown and see that some of those things are happening, particularly on the southwest corner of 4th and D Streets, where lemonade and other things will be available. And I believe the owners of the building are going to be living upstairs or creating residential. So Dan Flores may want to comment about that.
Well, I appreciate the input for sure, and we'll take that under consideration. That's really
I think that wraps it up, man.
Just leave it. It's okay, I'm going to adjourn. No objections?
No.
We're adjourned. Bless you all.
Ted Langdell, we have been providing live stream of the Marysville City Council Town Hall about the Hotel Marysville. Our live stream tonight has been underwritten by Neil Goforth at Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties. And we want to hear a little bit from him because he's been helping us do this sort of thing on a fairly regular basis. And recognizing our underwriters and sponsors is something that's very important because they help make this whole merry-go-round continue.
Hi, I'm Neil Goforth of Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties. Caring for elders or even yourself has challenges. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties can help you address today's issues and plan for tomorrow with in-home and specialized care for you or your family members. Call us at 530-749-8800. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties.
In Yuba County, there's a legendary diner.
Oh, it looks delicious. Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Where the parking lot tells a story. A story as simple as biscuits and gravy.
The food is good. The prices are wonderful. My dad has so many friends here that come here, and it's my dad and mom have known Mary Jane and her dad before Duke.
Duke's Diner on 7th Avenue, home of legendary chili, holiday pies, and generations of local residents preparing tasty, hearty food for generations of local people. Join Mary Jane and her genial associates as they serve meals you'll come back for. Duke's Diner on 7th Avenue, Olivehurst. Next week, here on Yuba-Sutter.live, Tuesday, Government Watch, presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage at plumaslakeselfstorage.com. At 9 a.m., the Yuba County Supervisor's regular meeting, At 3 p.m., the Sutter County Supervisor's regular meeting. No Tuesday Marysville Unified School Trustees meeting. It's been moved to January 20th. But there will be the regular 7 p.m. Tuesday Yuba City Unified School Trustees meeting. Government Watch. That's happening next week, right here on Yuba-Sutter.live.
Yuba-Sutter.live. It's the truth that comes through.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Yuba-Sutter.live. It's the truth that comes through.